Oh, good Lord. Last week was stupid.
If you're gonna navigate, try to get around somebody, you're going through this like chewed up pothole breakdown lane because they were too cheap to just take it another foot on either side. And so this thing's gonna be a dump in 2 years.
Can't even.
It's like, what is going on that we can't get a road paved from end to end? I'm Mike,
And I'm Allie, and we welcome you to Conversations with Mike and Allie.
and this week's topic is close to your heart because your son is driving and you're purchasing or in the process of trying to purchase a car. And we're going to talk about that process.
It's been quite eye-opening. I mean, so between the two of us, we've purchased, I don't even know, probably 20 cars. That sounds, I don't know.
No, probably.
About right. So the process is very interesting now. And again, I'm living through the eyes of my 17-year-old who's never been through the process. So we have to kind of bring him up to speed on what is going on. Right now, it is not in our favor to purchase a car. So for a lot of different reasons,
Mhm.
they have this thing called FOB.
Oh yeah, the key that you don't put in the ignition anymore.
Yes. Okay. So there a shortage. I don't know if it's impacted by COVID, but there's a shortage on these fobs. So the car dealerships don't have inventory. So they're taking full advantage of not having inventory. So everything is jacked up. So you're paying an additional between 3 and 5,000 for a used car. You're already upside down on a used car
Right.
before you even drive it off the lot. It's supply and demand.
What do you think is driving that? So it's weird because I'm in this space in my head where I don't understand. I mean, I understand about the supply issues that are happening because of COVID, but yet I don't understand why this is so deep, in so much of a problem that it's becoming this issue where you're upside down purchasing a used car.
It's a sign of the times. Apparently, I don't know. Again, I don't know. Is the pandemic being exploited? Are people kind of, fudging the rules now because they can? Again, I was paying $30 for 4 rolls of toilet paper, waiting like 6 to 8 weeks. So I don't know why we're here, but now we're here, and now it impacts people that need a car. And my kid works. He works hard. He got some savings, and he wants to buy a car. So
Yeah, he's a teenager. That's what
right,
you do.
with the rite of passage, you want a car. You want your own car. Feels good. Independence. So my husband's been doing most of the taking one for the team and going out to all these dealerships and dealing with it, because I'll be quite honest, I'm soft. Like I don't suffer fools, and I don't have the stomach for it. The process is so, at baseline, the process is so unappealing buying a car for so many different reasons. And you can,
Painful process at baseline when everything is working right. It's painful.
right. So now you have a pandemic. You've got so many extra layers on top of this. So they went to this dealership, and I don't know. I'm like old school when it comes to I've been in sales. Actually, we've both been in sales and marketing, and I don't know. I think we were kind of trained in our kindred spirits in terms of presentation, how you treat a prospective client. So the salesperson is in the back seat of this car. My son is in the front seat. my husband and shotgun, and she's on her cell phone and she's eating gummy bears while they're like going out, like just not even paying attention. Like, all right, first of all, is there a gummy bear? Maybe there's a gummy bear shortage and she thought she wasn't going to get any, just like there's a shortage of everything else. But who does that? Like, you're trying to close a deal on a car and you're on your phone and you're eating gummy bears. I want to know why.
Right, and there is no answer because it's so ludicrous that there is no real reason why. It's just this person had zero um, common sense, and is she like, or this person making dinner plans and shoving gummy bears in their face, and like I can already hear what it sounds like. This person on the phone with a mouth of gummy bears. On a test drive, in it, theoretically they're getting commission on this car, but they're not selling it.
Correct. And it doesn't even register with, like, I just think she was like going about her business. Like, this is the norm because literally they're in the driver's seat. They have people who are in very desperate situations. Now, fortunately, my son is not one of them because he does have access to two cars. So there isn't a sense of urgency, but for many, there's a sense of urgency and they know that. I mean, so it is supply and demand, and they are just, it is truly painful, but it's hard to describe to a 17-year-old, like,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
he has no frame of reference. He's no baseline. He's never bought a car before. So he doesn't understand. Like, he just wants to go out. I like that one. I like that one. I like the color of that one. And he thinks he can just go and do it. And so I mean, part of it is the learning experience,
Yeah.
which um is fascinating to me. And I just, I feel like it's a rite of passage. And as a parent, I'm just like, okay, well, this is the reality of the situation. Um, so I don't know. It has just been just wild.
And it goes back to our episode of nothing works, meaning like the process is broken even in the car industry at this moment. It's just nothing. It's so difficult now to take a straight path somewhere. There's something in the way all the time because a system's broken, a process is broken, somebody's not showing up for work.
All the above, all of the above.
I know your husband and I know how the process is going. And I know that the salespeople are like not loving the interactions. Not that he's disrespectful, but he's not going to be taken advantage of. And in this market where they think they can take advantage, I know he's not allowing it. And I'm like a fly on. I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, he is not having it. So, and my son is just sitting here watching, for better, for worse. I think it's for better because
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's a good life lesson. But I mean, you walk in there and they're like, "What do you want to pay?" And he's like, "As little as possible."
I mean, like a dumb question. Like, what do you want to pay? Like, brilliant answer though. Brilliant answer. I love that answer. As little as possible.
Oh, right. I mean, let's be honest. They do have to make money. They do always find ways to make money. I mean, you're really up against it. But in terms of my husband, I mean, he's been doing this he's bought many cars. So there's a very low tolerance for the gummy bears and how and they try to back you into the number, and then they add, like, here's an extra 2 and an extra 4, and I know what
Math is incredible, right? It's like all of us, like I go in there with like, okay, this is what I want to pay. Here's what my trade seems to be worth. And so the final number, it's like this less this equals this. But for some reason, their number is never that simple. It's like 25 calculations. We add this back in, we take this out, we throw this up here, we add this down. I'm like, what just happened?
Perfect description of it. Like, perfect. It's like you carry the wand, I have a calculator right here, and I'm like, "Okay, this seems very simple." Then all of a sudden, it's like, and the running fees now, I'm like, "What if they walk and do it slower?" Like, well,
I gotta pay a walking fee.
they pay a fee because I remember the fees being like a third of what they are now.
And what I love about your husband is like when he was buying his last car, the stories that he would tell me. I mean, he drove like 2 hours to go see this car, and a couple times, and he's just like walks out like, nope, not, I don't need this, and just, and so then all of a sudden the momentum shifts, and now the dealership is calling him, practically begging him to come buy the car, and that we're going to meet your deal. And I'm thinking, didn't it take him like 3 months to buy this car? And I'm thinking, if they just made the deal on the first visit, what, like, why couldn't that have happened? But I love how he just walks away. Like, nope,
Oh,
sorry, I'm done. I drove 2 hours. I'm done. I don't need you. I don't need this car. I don't need any of this. And then the phone's ringing on the 2 hour drive home. It's the dealership.
it's a classic sports analogy. It's the momentum change. Like all of a sudden, you flip it.
Yep.
You flip it. It's definitely been hasn't been boring. It's been very interesting, but and we're still not there yet. So we'll have to update
Yeah,
that
take your time. Don't rush, because you want to pay as little as possible.
because we want to pay as little as possible.
This last go around real quick with my car. I drive a lot. Well, I used to drive a lot for work. So my last car, I think I had it less than 3 years, and I had like 125,000 miles on it. So it depreciates really fast. So when I went to this dealership to buy my new car, and I did this math in my head, like 1 + 1 = 2, and that's the end of it. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I get this: your car, we're giving you nothing for your car for the trade, zero. And then here's the number. And so basically, I took your husband's lead in my brain, and I just sat there. There's like a little cafe. We can have snacks. You know, breakfast. Um, so I'm sitting there, and I just said, yeah, no. And then that prompts them to go back. Then they reach a number. Then I said, no, no, I'm fine. And you make that movement like you're getting up. No, no, it took them. Finally, they came back. I got over the book value that I originally thought I was going to get. And I'm talking, it wasn't like $2,000. It was a significant amount of money. So I went from getting zero for my car to getting over what the blue book value said that it was. And then I still said no. I want this much more taken off the sticker. And they back and forth, back and forth. And they come back, are you ready to sign this deal? And I'd finally say, I'm ready to sign the deal if you meet my deal. Then they go back and they get like a little bit closer, and they're always, even if it's like $3, it can never be what you want. It's like $3.50 off. So then he said to me, we're almost there. And I was financing some of it. So he says, we need you to finance through the car dealerships, like through the company, not like a bank, because they wanted to make the money off the interest. And they're like, it's 1% higher than what you can get at a bank, because we're giving you a really good deal on the car. I'm like, nope, I don't want to pay 1% higher. It's either the same as the bank, or it's nothing. I'm leaving. And so finally we made the deal work, but I'm thinking all afternoon. It took us all afternoon to close this deal.
Hours, hours. And you've got to know that going into it, and that's the other thing. Like, a 17-year-old brain is like, I only have like 2 hours. I have homework, I have sports, I have this, that, and the other thing. You can't deal in 2 hours. You're
No.
just the iceberg in 2 hours. I mean, they're bringing in all this stuff. They're like, a squirrel, look over there. There's this extra fee. There's the the interest in the bank